So the Browns ended the Steelers season in the AFC wildcard round last year. Can they do it again with the Monday Night Football spotlight shining bright on them? Who are you putting in your captain spot, AJ?
Well, for me, I think it comes down to the running backs for the captain spot. I'm going to skip over Nick Chubb only because he's slightly more expensive than Najee Harris, who's going to cost you 16.2. Look, I usually avoid trying to pay up to the top of the price range for the captain. It definitely makes it harder to build out the rest of your lineup. But I think this is poised to be a low-scoring, ground-and-pound game. The quarterback play from neither team has been really very good of late. So I do think you have to reach up for the top and take one of these running backs. Like I said, for me, I go with Harris only because he's just slightly cheaper. Maybe a little bit more of a workload for him too.
Yeah, and I know he's had some tough sledding recently, but I'm looking at his card here. He's still just 2 games removed from scoring 25 and a half DK fantasy points. Geoff, what direction are you going in? I know we talked a little bit about it yesterday on the Sweat.
I think that you can get a little bit crazy here. I mean, this is a game where they're just playing for nothing, and I think I like this spot for Nick Chubb. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a weak rush defense, but there's no reason for him to play in this game. The Cleveland Browns ultimately, as an organization, this is their best offensive player. If they give him 20 touches, I mean, it's literally criminal. Like, they should be brought up on charges here. I mean, it's so ridiculous. I think you could even think about rostering Ernest Johnson in the captain spot, but I do like going to the Pittsburgh receivers. I like going to Chase Claypool. I mean, this is a dude who he's got 1 touchdown on the year. If we like Ben Roethlisberger to have a bit of a narrative game, a bit of a throwback, why can't Chase Claypool get in the end zone a couple times here? I mean, he's the biggest guy, the guy who's going to get the secondary coverage. I like Deontay Johnson too, but again, I think you need to think about this showdown just a little bit differently. I think you're going to see some weird players pop up tonight, and I think Claypool, I know he does dances after he gets first downs and stuff, but he's got to put he's got motivation to at least just do something positive to end his season, because it's been a pretty terrible follow-up to a good rookie year for Chase Claypool. I like him. I like captaining tonight. I think he could surprise.
Pearce, this is a gotta-have it game for really both Baker Mayfield and Ben Roethlisberger. I believe you said you love Narrative Street. Big Ben yesterday, right, was your favorite DFS play in this one? Is that who you're going to captain?
Yeah, I mean, are we trying to get some clicks for these videos or what? We
yeah,
gotta
baby.
Play Ben Roethlisberger in this spot. If you want to dismiss the narratives, I get it, but this is one day, one moment where it's crazy to completely dismiss the narrative. This is his last game at home, and Geoff mentions that no one's playing for anything, and he's right. Most of the people aren't playing for anything, but Ben Roethlisberger is, and he's going to go out there and play. And it looks like not only should the Browns not give the ball to Chubb, they should rest him. You see this line change from the Steelers being plus 3.5 to now being favorites. That's the sportsbook telling us they think a lot of the Browns are not going to play. Their defense has been limited all week. They've been dealing with injuries all season. I would not be surprised to see Myles Garrett not suit up, Jadeveon Clowney. They've already got several defensive players already out. We could get Ben Roethlisberger throwing the ball 50, 60 times against a defense that's resting people. It reminds me of Kobe's last game where he scored 60 points. Yep. We shot the ball 50 times. Roethlisberger will probably need Tommy Johns after this game.
And listen, they remain on life support right now, like the playoff hopes of the Steelers, but still mathematically in this thing. What about value? Who's your favorite value playing the Showdown contest, Pearce? This is where guys like you and Geoff really shine.
Yeah, well, I think Geoff and I are going to be on the same spot here too. If you like Roethlisberger, you like the receivers, and the way to make it work is you just take one of these cheap receivers. If there's going to be a ton of volume from Roethlisberger, then Ray McCloud is going to be a possibility. He's played over 58% of the snaps in 5 of the last 6 games, 20, 30 routes per game in those games. Look, it's not pretty. His stat log, his game log is not pretty at all. But if the volume is going to be there, like Narrative Street is demanding, then you play him, and he allows you to put in Roethlisberger. He allows you to get Deontay Johnson. You can even run it back with Baker Mayfield, who, like you just mentioned, he's got to prove something as well. So Ray McCloud unlocks all those guys.
All right, what direction you going in here, Geoff?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think Ben Pearce alluded to it perfectly. This line is telling us something, man. I mean, some of these guys just aren't going to play. I'm a little bit surprised that Baker Mayfield is even starting. He's been having brutal injury issues all year with the shoulder and things like that. I think Ernest Johnson is a great value at under 5K. I think you're going to see a bigger workload at the very least. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones is another value around 5K that, again, if we think that Pittsburgh is scoring here, I mean, he should get a few targets. He's averaging 6 targets over his last 3 games. He's kind of their downfield weapon. And if Cleveland is behind, they're going to be passing the ball a little bit more. So I think there's tons of players in this 5K range that are super viable tonight. David Njoku's another one. But I like Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think he's a good comeback play, too. If you're going to stack the Steelers' offense, you come back with him, you get that one long touchdown, or maybe just even a volume play. Either way, he's too cheap.
Yeah. Again, Browns, Broncos, Dolphins all eliminated by the Chargers beating the Broncos yesterday. AJ, how about you, dude? Favorite value?
Well, I do like the Johnson consideration, but I don't think we're ready to rule out Kareem Hunt totally from being able to play in this game. And if he does, that's the route I go. Even if we do see some Nick Chubb here, they'll break it up a little bit. Hunt has actually been a bigger factor in the passing game throughout the season. So I do think Hunt has some really good value at 5,500 if he's in the game. But otherwise, like I said, I'm expecting more ground and pound, at least from the Cleveland side. Maybe these guys have a point about Big Ben, but if no Hunt, no Chubb, then yeah, I agree with Geoff here and Dearness Johnson.
All right, so from all reports here, we've seen it consistently and constantly all over the internet. Like, this is likely going to be Big Ben's last home game. Are we going to see the Steelers air it out, like for Ben or Mayfield? Like, what's a quarterback prop that you guys like tonight, Geoff?
I mean, I think just going over on Big Ben's touchdown props is fine. I mean, I'd be pretty shocked if they didn't give him, multiple chances inside the red zone to do that. He's plus 100 to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think that's great value. Again, I think we're going to get a Cleveland Browns defense. It's not really at 100% anyways. And I think this game could just get out of control at some point. I mean, we mentioned guys like Kareem Hunt. I just don't know what the motivation here is for Cleveland to play these guys in the second half. So I think that going over on Big Ben's touchdown prop, again, if you're really focusing just on his singular props, just on Ben, go over the 1.5 touchdowns, because Pittsburgh's not a good rushing team anyways, and the one thing the Browns do and probably will do good tonight is bottle up the run. So, yeah, if you like Pittsburgh, and again, they switched to favorites, and you like Big Ben, that's great value you're getting at plus 100.
All right, Pearce could also get after the over half an interception prop.
How dare you? Actually, I probably won't go in that route, given that Cleveland, they've already got several of their guys in the secondary are out. Others I don't think are going to play. They've had a good secondary this season in Cleveland, but I just don't think they're going to suit up. And if they do, I believe that they're going to be limited. We also have reason to believe that their pass rush is going to be limited. So I don't even know if I would go with that interception route, but I'm definitely going to go with over 234.5 passing yards. I just don't see the last game in Pittsburgh handing the ball off to 3 yard per carry Najee Harris all game. And if anyone needs rest, it's Harris. The workload they've given him in his rookie season, we already talked about it was criminal to get Chubb out there running and wearing him down in a meaningless game. Why wear down Najee Harris any more than you already have? You need to save this guy. He's probably he's basically your future. So why go out there and burn him out? I mean, you don't even need an offensive coordinator tonight. Here's what's going to happen. It's going to be Ben Roethlisberger audibling into shotgun and passing every single down.
Yep. I love it. I love you mentioned he's going to need Tommy John after this. He's going to throw the ball 90 times. AJ, is there a quarterback prop you like tonight?
Well, actually, Emerson, you hit on it. It's the interception prop, I think, for both guys. And look, if Ben comes out and he's throwing 90 times or even 50 times, like, one of them's going to somebody else on the other team. There's just no chance. If you really think he's going to throw the ball that many times, there's almost no chance he doesn't throw an interception here. You get him at even money to throw a pick. I like Mayfield as well at minus 135 to throw one here. Had a really bad last game and has struggled all year with interceptions. So I do think both of those are in play tonight.
All right, let's go outside of the quarterbacks. How about another player prop that you have your eye on for the final Monday Night Football game of the regular season? Pearce.
Sorry, but I'm going to go right back to the quarterbacks. And I'll go parlay, though, so I'll spice it up a little bit.
Cool.
Take Roethlisberger over and take Baker Mayfield over 223. He's got to prove something. He wants to keep his job, or at least wants to prove that he can get another job. And Cleveland in the situation, what do they need to see from Chubb? Nothing. They know what they have. They don't need him to go out there and run a bunch. They need to see what Baker Mayfield has. Or I think Geoff kind of alluded to this. Maybe they just want him to go out there and let him get banged up because they don't want him anymore. Maybe they want him to look bad. Either way, I could see Baker Mayfield getting plenty of passing opportunities against the Pittsburgh pass defense. That's not very good either. I think both these passing totals are just way too low, and you should parlay them together.
All right, AJ, what direction do you want to go in here?
Well, I'm going to look at some receiving yard totals here, and I do think a couple guys could be in play here. Jarvis Landry, the total is set at 48.5. You can get the over there at -110. I like that option. Geoff mentioned Chase Claypool, and his total is only at 40.5 right now. Again, you can get him over at -110. Look, really, it depends what you're expecting out of this game, passing or rushing. I'm still a little bit, more favorable that we're going to see a ground game here. But maybe these guys are swaying me. And if they're swaying you as well, look at some of those receiving yard totals because they're pretty low, all things considered.
Geoff, Nick Chubb, plus 550 to score the first touchdown tonight.
I'm not betting on the Browns. Thanks, though. Baker Mayfield to throw an interception, -140. Yeah, they're going to march him out there. He's going to be under pressure all night against a motivated defense. Give me a break. The guy threw 4 picks last week, and I mean, he's just not 100%. I don't even care what your take on Baker Mayfield is. It's a tough spot. He's probably going to throw at least 1 pick. Also, touchdown props. There's some big numbers you can get on the first touchdown score of this.
Yeah.
The Pittsburgh receivers is where you got to look. Plus 1,600 for Claypool, plus 1,600 for Freiermuth. But I like going big, Emerson. You know me. Plus 3,500 for James. I cannot tell a lie. Washington. Just go for it. Ben's going to throw a couple of touchdowns here.
Also, I just had it up, but I lost it. I think the Steelers defense has some pretty good odds too for it, or Browns defense, Steelers defense. They both got some pretty good odds for anytime scores tonight. Let's go slate approved pick, guys. Favorite bet this evening, Geoff?
I mean, there's just so many Ben Roethlisberger props that I want to take. I'll just go simple, and I'll go Ben to throw over 1.5 touchdown passes. It's plus 100. I'm actually shocked that you're getting plus money on it in this narrative situation. Again, the line has flipped. Pittsburgh's now the favorite. They're saying they're going to score a decent amount of points. I'm going to take that.
AJ, what about you, dude?
I'm going to look at the alternate line on the Steelers here. Yeah, you could go with just a -3 and get -105 value here. And that's an okay spot to be in, especially if you want that push. But for me, I'll go a little bit heavier. I think they could win by more than a field goal here. So I'll look at Steelers -4.5. I get plus 115 value on that. Good spot to be in. But really any of those, kind of in between the 3, maybe even all the way up to 7 if you want to take a little bit more risk, but you can get really good value on those alternate lines.
All right, Pearce, what about you?
Steelers money line. On the Sunday show, I said take the Steelers and take the points or take the money line. It's switched since then. I would recommend people go to DK Nation, check out Reed T. Fowler's trends article, scroll down to the Pittsburgh section, and the Pittsburgh numbers over the years, especially with Ben Roethlisberger against the Browns, are pretty dominant. So you got to be on the Steelers side for this.
Hey, guys, before you take off, just a quick bonus question for you. We didn't get to it in the first block of the show, but Geoff, everything that happened with AB yesterday, and now it's like another weapon that Tom Brady has lost, has that impacted at all, I guess, like your approach to maybe some futures bets with the Bucs, whether it's to win the conference or even the Super Bowl?
It's a tough spot to bet the Bucs right now. You're really not getting that big of value on them. We talked about where the Rams are. The Rams are now, smaller or bigger favorites than the Bucs to win the conference. But I just don't think that the Bucs have fallen enough. I mean, you can get the Cowboys at bigger odds. I think the loss of AB is big. I think we're all still okay. The Bucs are going to be okay. They've got Antonio Brown. They've got Gronk. They've got a couple nice receivers like Miller and Tyler Johnson. But now there's no Antonio Brown. It's just Mike Evans. Teams are just going to be able to shadow Mike Evans. I don't like the spot for the Buccaneers going into the playoffs at all. They're a team they'd have to fade, a lot further back in the odds for me to be interested.